Hello everyone. So today I thought that I would do a little flip through of my sketchbook because I just finished another one, which is crazy because I had not done any art in years and years and years, and then last year I started trying to get back into drawing and I didn't really come into it until this year really. Also, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Bucky. I use they, he pronouns. And yeah, I like to talk about stationery and journaling and stuff, especially fountain pens. I love fountain pens. If you're not new here, thank you for coming back. My desk is different, and the reason for this is because I actually just put contact paper on top of it, and by I mean my mom did, because she did most of the work and I was sitting there stressed. Um, but yeah, we put wood contact paper on it, and I love it so much more now because, you probably know this, but like the light was really reflective off of my desk before, and I really did not care for that. But anyway, let's get into the sketchbook tour. I will give you more information about like all the details in a second. I'm just gonna have a sip of my coffee. Please do not judge me for how much milk and cream I put in my coffee. Anyway, so currently my sketchbook is in here. There's also a few other inserts that I have in here. This is a Paper Republic Grand Voyager in pocket size. It is very beaten up. I've only had it for a few months, but it's very beaten up because I used it as my wallet and my passport holder when I was in California. Anyway, it has two other notebooks, just for miscellaneous things, but I'm going to take out this one, which is the sketchbook. This is a Royal Talens Art Creation sketchbook. I love it so much. And like, this is the craft cover, so it got pretty, like, worn, I guess. But, I really like the paper, and it's very inexpensive in comparison to a lot of sketchbooks, which I really appreciate because it made it feel less precious. I was really worried about feeling too concerned with the art that I was making in here because, for context, I was an art student for many, many years, and so I stopped making art because I felt so guilty about creating art that wasn't good. And obviously it depends who you ask and like what your standards for art are, but I just felt so scared to create because I had put so much pressure on myself that I was too afraid to start, really. And then in March this year, I started this sketchbook. I have a previous sketchbook that I finished earlier this year, but basically, with that sketchbook, that one started last year, and I only really used fountain pens in it, and it's fine. I don't mind it. It was a good breaking the ice. It was good at breaking the ice for my current art practice. And yeah, I started that one. I don't remember, but I started it last year, and I finished it earlier this year, and then I started this one around the same time I finished the other one, which was in March. And then I finished this in July, which is really quick for me, but to be fair, this is only 80 pages. But it's really quick to get through since it's pocket size, it's like the size of my hand. But I really like the stuff that I did in here. Not all of it, but like I do like it. My previous sketchbook, I did a flip through of the form of a reel slash YouTube short. And so if you want to check that out, feel free to. This sticker on the front, I do not remember the artist who made it, but I actually pilfered it off of an older sketchbook. And I think it suits this one very well because I would like to be happy and just kind of create art as I go, as opposed to putting so much pressure on myself. As for the specs of this notebook, this is a Royal Talens Art Creation sketchbook, and it has 80 pages, and I actually have the band in here. Oh, I think it's just called Talons in North America. Anyway, 80 sheets of paper, so it's not just pages, 80 pages, it's 80 sheets. It's 19, no, no, it's 9 by 14 centimeters, which is 3.5 by 5.5 inches, and it is 140 GSM, which is, the pages are 140 GSM, which is 94 pound paper. I really like this. This pocket doesn't come with it, I just put this pocket in. But it was helpful to have this, like, the dimensions of it just at any given time to just um, have it for reference. This is a Megan Rhiannon little notepad, or not notepad, they're like little printable note sheets, and so I put my contact information and the dates I began and completed this journal. And then this is some washi tape, just like a scrap, and the artist is Paloma the Beach. Okay, I think that's, oop, I was not in the best of frames there, sorry. I think that's all the, like, specs. This is, it doesn't come with a pen loop. This is an old look term pen loop that I have double-sided taped onto here. I haven't used this band particularly when it's been in the leather cover. And then this is a Traveler's Company brass pencil. I really like this because it's always helpful to just have a pencil around, because I used to just use a fountain pen in here, and then I decided I was going to use a pencil, and I've really appreciated it, especially when I'm bringing my neocolor 2s around, because I prefer having a, I don't know why, I just prefer having a pencil to mark down my, like, the dates and, like, the locations, as opposed to trying to write those in later. So yeah, let's just get back into the flip through from the beginning. I don't know the artist who drew this sticker, unfortunately. I don't remember. I actually stole this sticker from an old sketchbook that I had from, like, years and years ago. I think it was, like, early university days. But yeah, I took this sticker and I thought it fit this sketchbook well because I would like to be a happy artist. I just want to make art for fun instead of being super, super hard on myself about it. And I guess we'll just get into the flip through. So the first page is always the scariest, and so I just did some pen tests on here. This is, I think, scraps when my mom was trying to get a pen to start. Then I did this, this very light sketch of a, what do we call these? Like, you know how some cafes have, like, a water dispenser, I guess? And this one had limes in it, so I drew that while waiting for coffee at a cafe in the beaches. And then I was still really intimidated, and so I did a bunch of swatches. This is a Winsor & Newton Sketches pocket set. I've had it for a long time. I'm missing sap green, and there's no black, and so I decided I wasn't going to use this as my watercolor palette for the most part. Also, it's not very pocketable. This is a Dowler Rowney watercolor set, and I really like this one. It has all the colors I need, plus I was able to get just a tube of white watercolor, and so I put that on the lid so I still have a white, and then I have all these little pots. And yeah, it works for what I need. I'm not very good with watercolor yet. I'm trying my best, and I'm trying to get better as I go, but I really just... It's not my favorite medium. I prefer gouache, but I haven't used gouache in a really long time, and I don't actually own any currently. And then acrylic it's fine. But yeah, so this is watercolor. I'm trying to get better at watercolor because I'd like to bring it along with me for, like, urban sketching and stuff. This is a mug that I own in Diamond Forever Honey Pot. This is a permanent ink I got in a sample from my friend Tess. Hello, Tess. She's really sweet, and so we did an ink swap, and she sent me a sample of this, which I love this color. I'm a bit nervous about it since it's a pigment ink, which is the Diamine Forever line is all pigment inks. But I really like this color, and I found that it's really similar to Diamine's standard line, Golden Honey, so I might try using that a bit more. Some more swatches. Here are my Prismacolor Premier Soft Color pencils. Most of these are from a set that I have, and then I got some additional ones just one-offs. But I did... I swatched these in a different notebook, and then I just put them in here because I wanted them for reference. I don't actually use these very often. I used them a few days ago, but, like, I don't use them very often. I use them more for, like, coloring books, which I also don't use very often, but my partner my fiance got me into coloring books. They got me one for my graduation, and so graduation slash Valentine's present. And so I'm trying to get back into that because I think it's very fun, and I don't like the ones that are super complex, but the ones that are like cutie, I really like. These are some little guys. Yeah. This is when I was first trying the watercolor. I really hate this. I really hate this. Yeah, there's not much to say. I found a photo on Pinterest and I tried to recreate it sort of in a loose style, but I really, really don't like it. I like this one slightly more, also a photograph off of Pinterest. These two, the ink in these drawings is Diatramentus Document Black, and it works really well with watercolors because it's a pigment ink, but I haven't been using pigment ink or any really fountain pens with watercolors. I've reverted back to just using a pencil. This is Puffle, my best friend Puffle. I had a dream about a pigeon last year, and he's been haunting me ever since, to the point I got him tattooed on my arm. This was a flash piece by an artist I'd always wanted a tattoo from, and I saw this pigeon, and I was like, oh man, now I have to get him. He's Puffle, he lives on my arm now. But yeah, so I drew this pigeon first, and I was like, well, that's not really what a pigeon looks like. That's a very stylized pigeon. And then I drew this pigeon, and I was like, yeah, that's Puffle. That's Puffle. He's a circle. But yeah, I had a dream that I had a pet pigeon who was basically a sphere of feathers, and I was like, he's my best friend Puffle. So yeah. Then this is when I got the Carandash Neocolor 2s. This is my new favorite medium, I think, other than fountain pen and pencil. I really love these. Initially I got just these ones because it came in a set called Dark, and then I slowly started adding more, but I sort of just carry around, here, let me show you. I just really carry around this tin of Neocolor 2s, and I adjust which ones are in here based on my needs. These are the colors that I brought to California, and I've just been keeping them for on-the-go sketching ever since. But yeah, they're really good. I really like them. I've just been using them on the go. This came with like here, the 50th. It was a 50th anniversary special edition. And so it came with these colors. These ones, these 10, I guess. And then they were a little too dark for what I was going for, so I added in some blues and some more greens and stuff like that. But I just love them so much. They're working really well for me, because one thing about me is that I really dislike drawing with, like, fine lines, and so I don't have to use fine lines for this. Like, this was my first drawing with one of them, and I can just go at it with thick lines, and then I can get finer if I need to for details. And I like the layering that I can do. This is just a stamp from Wonder Pens. I live in Toronto. I love stationery. Wonder Pens is a really lovely shop in Toronto, downtown. And so I just stamped it in here because I went, and then I used the Diamine Honey Pot to draw some stars around it because I thought it looked a little empty. Then this is the first, like, full drawing I did with the Neocolor 2s. It's a tulip. I love tulips. My Lola's garden is, like, entirely tulips. But yeah, I don't hate how this came out, but I don't love it either. Then this was meant to be, like, a sticker collection page. I had a mango, and that was the only sticker I had on here. And then a few days ago, or no, it was last week, I think, we got pizza, and so I put a sticker on from pizza. But, like, I wanted to collect more stickers, I just never did. This is when I did a little sort of journal entry when my dad gave me a crew cut. I shaved my head earlier this year, and I've been trying to grow it out ever since, and then he gave me this weird kind of crew cut, and I did not care for it. It has grown in since, but it was rough for a few days. This is a croissant that I tried to draw. There's a cafe downtown in the village that has really good strawberry cream croissants, and I love them so much. They're so good. This doesn't really do it justice. They're kind of hard to draw, but I really liked it. At the same cafe, oh, the cafe is called Cafe Our Hours on Church Street, and I had a sweet cream matcha. Usually I get the strawberry matcha to go with the strawberry cream croissant, but I did not do that this time. And then I tried to draw this, and I just kind of carved out the background because I made a mistake, and then I drew all these quilt, like, well, this is a quilt motif, and then my regular little stars. And then I drew another puffle. This one's not as good. This is another iced drink that I had. This was a strawberry matcha with soy milk. That's why I wrote that down there. And this was in gray ink, which I really don't like for this particular drawing. But the person drew a smiley face on my cup, which was nice. This is at Adil's cap. Is it just called Adil's Coffee House? I'm not sure, but this was at Adil's. This is just an empty glass I drew. This was a water bottle at Taroni's on Queen Street West. They serve you like water in these big jugs so you can just kind of pour it yourself. And then this is sort of, I got a new pen, and it's from Le Pen. It's just like this, the color was called mustard, so I really wanted to get it. And I just sat there and I was hanging out with some lovely friends, and I just kind of drew the stuff that was on the table, which were these glasses, the water jug again, and some, this is not a burrito, they're napkins, but this looks like a burrito. But yeah, they were napkins that were folded really nicely, and I just, it looks bad, but it's fine. Then I went to Ripley's Aquarium with my partner when they were visiting. I love the aquarium, I love fish. It's actually where I proposed to them. But anyway, we went back, and I tried to draw the kelp forest just in the dark, and this is what came of it. And then I was really bad at drawing fish, but I really like this guy. I think he's really, let's see if he can, sorry. I really like this guy. I think he's really funny. But yeah, so I tried to draw the kelp forest while I was sketching in the dark with the neocolor 2s, and it was pretty hard, but I don't hate how it came out. This is more of the kelp forest, also drawn in the dark. This is a jellyfish that I drew. I initially drew the yellow in the dark as well, because most of the aquarium's in the dark. I don't know, or not dark, but like it's in low light. So in the yellow, I drew a jellyfish, and then when I got home, I was like, I can't really see that, huh? And so I drew the red on top, and then I drew blue for the background. Yeah, not my best, but I took some creative liberties, I guess. This is a sketch of my fiance while they were doing their homework. They are now finished their masters, but while they were visiting me, they were still working on their masters, and then they graduated like 2 weeks later, and so that's why I was in California. We both graduated around the same time, and so they came up for like 4 days for my graduation ceremony, and then I went down for 12 days for their graduation ceremony and their birthday. So this is a really rough sketch of them in just drawing, not drawing, just doing their homework in the driveway, and they moved while I was drawing this, and I was like, well, that's a hand. This is a drawing of my iPod. I love iPods. I have my iPod on my desk most of the time. Then transitioning into the pages from when I was in California. This is a the hotel patio. The hotel we stayed at for the first few days when we were in Orange County, they had continental breakfast, and so I drew this before my partner was sleeping, and their mom came to join me for breakfast, but I drew this right before she came to join me. So like, it's just really scribbly, and then she came like a few minutes after this, or like while I was drawing it, I think. And so that's why it's really scribbly, but I kind of like it. So this is the first Disneyland sketch. These are just some patio furniture that was at the Stage Door Cafe in Disneyland. We went to Disneyland as a combination of my fiance's I'm sorry I keep alternating between fiance and partner. They are one person. But anyway, it was a combination birthday and graduation gift from their mom. It was us going to Disneyland, and so we went to Disney, and yeah, it was really fun. But I'm not a big rides person, and I'm disabled, and so I need a lot of rest. And so there were a lot of times where I was just sitting drawing, and it was really nice, honestly, even though it was really hot. But they live in the Central Valley, so Orange County, it was nothing in comparison to there, heat-wise. This is the same cafe. I messed up the chair backing really bad, but it is what it is. And then that's my water bottle. And then this was one of the light posts, I guess, in downtown Disney. These are like the banners. I didn't get around to drawing the banners, but I drew this while we were waiting for dinner. This is another day in Fantasy. This was in Fantasyland, another patio drawing. This one I kind of like more. They're gonna give me heck in the next few pages because I keep calling it something that it's not. So I drew this in the Star Wars part while I was waiting for them to go on the big Star Wars ride. And it's not really an urban sketch because I was drawing just the plant life, but all this black part was like a wall. So I don't know. I really like it though because I like the way that I drew the tree. The rest is just kind of like artistic license. Here's the part that that's really quite funny to me. So I drew this, I don't know what it is, and I wrote down, I don't know what this is, but it's in the Star Wars part, and then I wrote, I have been informed it is called Galaxy's Edge and not the Star Wars part, and I felt so silly, but I keep calling it the Star Wars part because I can never remember Galaxy's Edge for some reason. I don't know why, it just doesn't stick in my head where I'm like, oh yes, we went to Galaxy's Edge, and I'm like, the Star Wars part. Okay, so the next page I really love. This is also in Galaxy's Edge, aka the Star Wars part. I really like this. It's very scribbly, but I really like how it came out. This part is actually like part of it's like a fake mountain, I guess, or like mountain, rocky, whatever. But it's all gray. I didn't bring any gray with me to California, so I just used brown, but I really like how it turned out. And then these are the booths that sell merch and stuff, and then the rest was like plant life. I really like this. It's one of my favorite pages in here, even though it's so simple, but it's so like it got the point across really well, and I really like it. Then this is a little bit of journaling I did. I was at the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree while I was waiting for my partner and their mother or their mom, my mother-in-law, to finish writing Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It was really hot, and I was just kind of sitting there like, what am I supposed to do? And so I was really sweaty. And then I drew my water bottle, but I was too lazy to draw the stickers on my water bottle. This is also at in Bayou Country in Disneyland. I kind of like this one. It's not bad, but like if you've been to Disneyland, you know that there's like, I don't know what to call it. It's like a bridge, but also like a platform that goes up and over the river towards the patio section of the Hungry Bear Jamboree barbecue place, whatever. This was some venting because I was having a bit of a rough go. I have censored all of this because I don't like looking at it. We were in the Avengers part. I think it's called the Avengers Campus because we crossed over, we park hopped to California Adventure, which is where the Avengers Campus is. I got a coffee, and then my mother-in-law and my partner went on the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, and I was having a rough go, and so I just kind of vented a little bit, and I wrote, it's scary to feel so vulnerable in a public place. I'm a bit overwhelmed by it now, especially since it's 8:15 p.m. I was knackered. Yeah, this was, I don't even remember, I think this was the second day, and so, like, we were there for, like, 3 days, and I was like, oh man, I'm already so tired and so overstimulated. Then I drew the coffee. Wow. Then I drew the coffee again. Yeah, that was pretty good. It was just like a regular old like Starbucks coffee or whatever, but I needed it because I was so tired. The next day we went to California Adventure right away, and I tried to draw this. I tried to draw the Ferris wheel. It's not very good. Yet again, so took some artistic liberties, but I was doing it in fountain pen. I yeah, I just kind of went with it. It's not great, but you can tell kind of sort of what it is. Not really. You can, I don't know, does it look like a Ferris wheel? It's called the Pixar Pal Around, which I think is very silly, but like silly in a good way. But yeah, it's the Ferris wheel. It kind of looks like this, but not quite. Then when my partner went on Galaxy's Edge again, I drew their mom because she didn't go on this day. This was our third day, and she wasn't feeling the best, and so she sat with me and I drew her on her phone. I tried to draw her side profile, but then she turned and I was like, no. And so yeah, I just did a quick sketch of her. These were the ears that I got. I don't know how I feel. I have some weird mixed feelings about Disney in general. Obviously they are on the BDS list. So yeah. But I got these ears because I felt left out, and they were really cute, and they were for Pride, because we were there during like the Pride celebrations at Disney, and they had a surprising amount of Pride stuff considering the lack of representation in their films. But I say lack of representation. There's always the ongoing joke about like the first gay character in a Disney film, and I always think that's very funny. But anyway, they had a surprising amount of Pride like displays around the park, and they had these ears. It came with a bow, and I was like, oh man, I would get that if it didn't have the bow. The bow was removable. It was perfect. And so I took off the bow, and then I put it on top of my baseball cap because I needed a baseball cap because it was way too hot for me down there. But yeah, I didn't have an orange or a purple with me, and so I just kind of I layered the neocolor twos on top of each other to get the orange and the purple. It doesn't look terrible, but yeah, I drew that while we were waiting again for my partner on a ride. I didn't mind all the waiting around, to be honest, because I like just people watching. Um, but yeah, I thought that was pretty fun. This page is a recreation rather, of a photo I took of my partner. When we were driving through LA, they had their hand out the window and the breeze was really warm, and it was just so nice, and like the sun was shining on them, and I was like, man, I think life is worth living sometimes. Not to be dramatic, but it felt just very nice because, yeah, I love them so much, and it was just so nice to see them just kind of hanging out and like not. This was like right before their graduation ceremony, and I was like, they had been so stressed for so long doing their masters that I was just so glad that they were able to be carefree for a moment. So I drew that. It's not very good. It's definitely not proportionate or like biologically accurate whatsoever, but it is what it is. The reason I'm critiquing like the anatomy is because for most of my art career, was very focused on portraiture and life drawing, and so when things are out of whack, I notice it immediately, but it is what it is. This is, I'm covering up their, like, last names. This is the backyard of my partner's house. I wrote down their mom and their stepdad's last names here because it's their garden, but I really like how it turned out. I think it's really cute. Yeah, I don't know the sort of like roof over the patio that their stepdad made looks like just like this, and I really like how I was able to get really loose with it but still get the point across. Like, you can tell, at least I can tell, what it's supposed to be. This is when I was experimenting with watercolors, trying to do a wash, and I was going to draw on top of it, but I never got around to it. This is just some I get, are they phone lines or hydro lines? Whatever. But with the sunset, because this was the one right before this was initially supposed to be like trying to do a sunset so I could draw on top of it, and then I got overstimulated. Or not overstimulated, I got I got fed up with it, and so I just didn't do it. And so instead I did this, which is just the neocolor 2s layered on top of each other, and I didn't use any of the watercolor for that at all. This is neocolor 2 with a wet brush. This is my icon, or my profile picture, whatever you would like to call it. Yeah, this is what I look like most of the time. I actually took out some of these piercings, but yeah, I look like this. So I drew this, and I really liked it. I tried to make it into a digital illustration, but I didn't like it as much, so I just kept it like this for my profile picture. This is another tulip. This is one of my favorite sketching inks. I've used it a lot in here already. This is J. Urban's Vert Olive. I'm trying to get other people to use it for drawing as well. 2 other people have tried it, and it's making me very excited because I'm like, everyone should use this for drawing because I love this olive green. It's not the best for writing because it's not very legible necessarily. It is on this paper, but not on other papers. But I'm like, use this for drawing, please. It's really good. Then this is at the airport. This is also at the airport. This is a matcha cardamom bun I got at the Denver airport. Yeah, the green is matcha, not mold. But I really like how this came out, but like I showed my dad and he immediately went, ew! And I was like, well, yeah, kinda, sorry. I thought it wasn't, the food actually wasn't that good, but I like this drawing I did of it. And then that was everything from like California and traveling. Then I got home and I drew these strawberries that my mom got in a little carton. They were supposed to be like farm fresh strawberries, but they were not very good, and we were so disappointed. So this is just a photo I took on my flight home, and then I just tried to draw it with my neocolor 2s the best as I could. I really like how it turned out, actually. The thing about my sketching is very much, I just want to get the point across. I like being messy and loose with it. But as long as you can like look at it and you can tell what it is, I'm good. And I'll show you more sketches like that. Well, you've seen sketches like that. But yeah, you can look at this and go, okay, it's an airplane window. It doesn't have to be overly detailed, because I used to be very, very overly detailed, and I would work on art. I would overwork a lot of my sketches. And so I'm just trying to be really loose and fun with it now. This is a park in downtown Toronto, or not downtown, it's more the West End, but Lisgar Park. It's near Glad Day Bookshop if you're ever in that area on Queen Street West. But yeah, I just drew this because we were waiting for the bookshop to open. This is also the same park. This was like a lamppost, but it looked really cool, and there was art pinned to it that said "Look More," and I thought that was pretty cool. This is when we were at Lakeview Diner, and I drew my dad's hands with the water and the salt. He has tattoos right here, and I was like, I can't be bothered. Especially with like my neocolor 2s, like I don't have a fine enough point to draw all of his tattoos right here. The same at the Lakeview. This is just a water glass, same as this one. This is also my dad, really rough sketch. He moved while I was drawing this as well, so that didn't help. This is a bus stop, a really bad bus stop. It looks terrible and I hate it, but it is what it is. And this is at Ossington Avenue, in Toronto, in the West End. This is my iced coffee. I drew the Kakuno because, I really like the nibs on Kakunos. I have been having a little bit of an issue with the ink sort of, let me show you. The ink sort of, here. The ink getting up all around the grip section up here, and you can kind of see, in there, the ink accumulating up there. It washes out fine, so I'm not worried. It's just annoying because every time I draw, I get ink all over my hands. Okay, this is my favorite thing in here. This is my favorite sketch or painting, whatever, in here. So this is the side of the California highway. I drew this while we were driving through the grapevine. I love it so much. Other than this one part because it got too dark. But yeah, I drew it in from a photograph I took, and then I did some watercolors with it, and I just really like how it turned out. I'm really proud of it. There's actually more foliage and like greenery on the hills, but I just did this amount because I thought, yet again, it gets the point across, and I didn't want to overwork it. But yeah, I really like how this turned out, and I think it's my favorite page in this whole sketchbook. Then I drew this ice cream from an ice cream, like a little ice cream, what do we call that? It's not a shop, it's literally a, like a hut, I guess, called Brett's on Kingston Road, in Scarborough. And I got this vegan apple pie ice cream, and it was so good. I'm not vegan, but I am lactose intolerant. And so it was really, really good. And I wanted to watercolor this, I just haven't gotten around to it yet. This is I guess, vent art. I had a really weird dream, about my Lola. Yeah, that's what you get. This is the CAMH waiting area. I was participating in a research study, and so I drew this while I was waiting for the staff member to come get me. Then I went to Trinity Bellwoods Park and I got an iced latte, so I drew it while I was there. I was sat in direct sunlight and my neocolor twos got so hot, because they're in a tin and also they're made of wax. They did not melt, but they did get really like soft, and so I won't be doing that again. But the problem was this was the only like picnic table that was available. Everything else was like there were people there, and I didn't want to be like, hey, excuse me, can I sit with you while I draw? So I just sat in the sun for like 10 minutes, and I was like, well, that's way too much sun for me. And I drew this, and you can tell how wet, or not wet, you can tell how soft the neocolor twos got because they were putting down so much wax. I drew this tree in the sun, and it was so hot, and it was gross. Then this is a partial tyrannosaur I drew at the ROM, which is the Royal Ontario Museum. I got really nervous trying to draw in the museum, and this is all I got. It's like the butt of the tyrannosaur. I don't know why I chose that part. I was just intimidated by the skull, I think, and I was like, well, I can do the legs, and then do the legs, and I was like, oh, well, okay. But yeah, so I got that far. And then I drew this. This is a little self-portrait, and it says, trying to see the joy and wonder in all things, even when it's really hard. Because I've been going through it, haven't I? I will say, I've been trying to use some whiteout in this book when I don't like what I've drawn, or if I smudge too much, and this is the cream correction tape, and I don't mind it in here, it's not too bad. But I really like the sketch, I think it's really cute. It's just me being like, wow, amazing, the world, the wonders. Here are some houses. I love drawing houses. I'm not good at it, but I love a house motif. I have two, no, I love a house motif. I have a house on my desk. I have 2 house tattoos. Yeah, I just love a house motif. And then this is just a scrap of washi. This is my tangle. It doesn't look very good. And my clampy. My clampy's actually right here. This is actually really helpful for this sketchbook in particular because it's like the perfect size for it. This is my outfit from when I went to the ROM. I drew this like a day or so after, but I really liked the way that it looked. Me with my silly tabby shoes and my big shirt and my big tote bag. Yeah, I thought it was fun. Also, these pants aren't plaid, they're actually gingham, but I don't know how to draw gingham, so close enough. Another another iced coffee that I had at home, but it was empty this time. This I did last night. I didn't draw it. I drew it on the 16th. Yesterday was the 20th. I drew it, and then I decided I was going to paint it yesterday. There is artistic license heavily used here, but I took this photograph of like the parking lot outside of Disney, and then I decided I wanted to draw and paint it, and I kind of like it, but I'm not sure. When I first painted it, I was like, ew, this is disgusting, I hate it. But then I went over it with some of the pencil crayons, the Prismacolor ones, and I kind of like it more now, but I'm still not sure. This is just a matcha latte and an almond chocolate croissant that I got at the Banana Hand event at Chaveta Coffee, which is it on Bathurst? I think it's on Bathurst. Um, I just drew that while I was there at an event with some friends. This is actually the inside of the cafe. Banana Hands is a stationery shop, an online stationery shop, and all this month of July, they've been doing a pop-up every weekend at Chaveta, and they had a ceramicist come in and sell her wares alongside them. And so this was her table, and my mom ended up getting a mug, and it's really beautiful. And I got a little like ceramic coffee with latte art, and it's so cute. I love little ceramics. I really wish I could get into ceramics, but it's like sensory hell for me. Like the feeling of clay drying on my hands, absolutely terrible for me personally. But I drew this in Diamine Bashful Blueberry, which is another ink I got from Tess. Hello, Tess. I love you. And then this is my last little sketch. This is the last page because it's attached to like the fly leaf, and so I just wrote a little thank you note for the sketchbook and my little drawing of myself. And yeah, that's everything. The spine is a little skewed, but it's fine. So yeah, that was this sketchbook. I'm really glad I've gotten more comfortable with drawing through this sketchbook. There were a bunch of things in here that I hated, but then there's a bunch of things that I really like. And I'm really proud of myself for getting back into art after being too afraid of it and then too burnt out to make art for a really long time. It's just nice to be able to create and have fun with it instead of being so hard on myself all the time. I'm gonna get another one of these sketchbooks, but I have to wait until I get paid. But I really like it. I don't know if I'll put another pen loop on it. I might not. We'll see. But I'm planning to get the pastel pink one of this exact journal. It's this different material than this, so it's not gonna like scuff up like this one did, but I don't mind. I have like a bigger one that I should probably start working on as well, but I just don't feel like it. I don't like drawing big. And this one fits in my bag so well. But yeah, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch one of my videos and like take a look at some of the things I've drawn in the past few months. Do you sketch at all? If you are an artist or if you like making art, what is your favorite medium? Please tell me. My favorite medium is currently the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s. They are water-soluble wax pastels. I love them so much. But yeah, tell me what your favorite medium is. Or if you don't make art, have you ever considered it? But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.